Hi, my name is EJ Richards. I was born in New York. I've always lived out here. This is Ethel Katz. I interviewed her, and basically I just want to let you know, like, she wasn't in a concentration camp, so it was just the effects of how everybody who didn't go to a concentration camp was treated and how their lives were changed. Initially, I had a video, but it didn't work out. I wanted to take part in this internship because I didn't really know too much about the Holocaust, and like I just knew it was part of the war, but I wanted to learn more about it. And a lot of young people have no idea like what the Holocaust is. They just think, okay, some Jewish people were put into concentration camps and that was it. But it was a lot more than that. And from interviewing her, I told all of my friends and my family, and they was just as shocked as I was. So since I had a video and it was like last minute changes, I'm basically just going to tell you about what I remember and like what stuck in my mind the most. So basically, Ethel was born July 3rd, 1922 in that's how you say it? Bushash, Eastern Poland, which is now the Ukraine. There were 7 people in her family, including herself. Her mother's name is Frida, her father's name is Anchel, and her sister's name is Bronia. She had a fraternal twin brother named Monio and younger identical twin brothers named Demulus and Rumik. Ethel's family owned 2 houses, one in the city and one outside the city. The house in the city is where her and her family resided most of the year during the winter months in school. The house outside the city was a farmhouse with a large estate. The farmhouse is where they went for vacations and holidays. The estate consisted of grand orchards, paths, fields, and a pond. It also had many workers. The farmhouse was a larger, more desirable house than the one in the city because it was when Ethel had the most of her memories of fun spent with her friends and family. One of the things that was most memorable was the introduction of the grain machine to the estate, which the children watched in awe. Ethel had village friends, which none survived. All the children attended school in the city. Ethel remembered liking school and being very good at art. There was always anti-Semitism where she lived between the Jewish people and the Ukraine Indians, but in the 1930s it grew stronger with the rise of Hitler. Ethel first heard about World War II, right? It's World War II, right? I forgot the number. I didn't want to say the wrong number. Okay, starting in 1939 when Germany attacked Poland. When Germany defeated Poland, it divided Poland in half. The western half was controlled by the Nazis and the eastern half was controlled by the Soviets. When the war started, her family was scared and quiet. Rich Jewish people and Jewish police officers were sent to Siberia. Before Ethel's family left their home, an incident that had occurred was when all the men were called to register before 6 p.m. one evening or there would be consequences. Her twin brother, Monio, rushed home from work and then off to register, and that was the last time she had seen him. She later told me her and her family heard machine guns at 3 a.m. Ethel and her family left their home July 5th, 1941. When her brother went to register, and she told me that was the last time she ever seen him, and later that night, 3 in the morning, they heard machine guns, like, that was the first part of her story that was, like, really devastating because you just automatically knew that, like, your brother didn't come home, and you knew that was what was going on. They were killing people, and it was, like, really nothing you could do. So, like, the whole story she told me was like a movie, like, different chapters, and it was real hard to believe, like, she went through that. That was her life because her whole childhood, she just told me everybody lived like normal people, like, and for it to just suddenly change, it was like unbelievable. So another part of her story that stuck in my mind was when her and her family were hiding in the house, and the Nazis were trying to break in and they were trying to escape. It was so much snow outside that you could barely walk in it, and they had to run to get away. And while her and her brothers was running, she was hit in the back of the head and she was knocked unconscious. When she opened her eyes, she seen a foot, like a boot, and she just pretended to still be unconscious. And then she realized it was a Nazi, and Once she laid there and pretended she was dead or unconscious, she heard gunshots, and her family was still back at the house. So when she got up, she realized like her family was dead. And like at the beginning of the interview, I told her to promise me not to make me cry, and she didn't. So I knew that meant I probably was gonna end up crying. And it was just like, oh, I'm gonna cry. This was real hard because she witnessed our whole family dying. I'm sorry. I'm a little crybaby. Another part of her story that stuck in my mind was when she was hiding. She found the house where there was a secret compartment in the wall, like a double wall that somebody previously had built there to hide.
False wall.
Yeah, a false wall. And she hid in the wall, and she was able to see through the cracks, like outward, but you can't really see inward. So she hid there, and ironically, soldiers came to the house to like stay there. It was like while they was
because the fighting was in the city.
the frontier, right? So she stayed in the wall. She had bread with her, but she ended up being in the wall so long she had to eat like little pieces of bread like every day, and she had no water. So her throat became so dry that she had to somehow get out to get water. So one day she came out of the wall. It was in the attic, right? She went downstairs. There was one soldier downstairs, and she always knew where he was at because he had like a really bad cough.
He was sick and coughed.
So she went to the kitchen, and there was a big bucket of water on the floor. So she drank as much as she could, and she tried to carry the bucket back upstairs. The bucket couldn't fit in the opening in the wall. So she looked in the attic for something to pour the water into, and she found a really dirty bottle. Like the bottle was so dirty, it was black, like you couldn't even see in it. And she poured the water in there and took the bottle in the wall. Like I can't imagine, like I've seen dirty bottles outside. It's so black. Like
the bottle was 100 years old.
Like I couldn't imagine pouring water into a filthy bottle and drinking that. Like
it was vitamins. The word was vitamins.
So, how long did you stay in the wall again? How long?
4 months.
4 months in a wall with water and bread. Well, there was a part where some young boys that helped you bury the bodies and who prayed for you.
This was before we were liberated twice. Mm-hmm. The first in the village when they killed my family, and the Polish youngsters helped me to bury the family. Then I came back to the city, and Hitler counted back, and the fighting was again, and I had to hide then in the false wall. Yeah.
You know, this has been a very emotional experience for you, and I understand that. So, Ethel, let me ask you a question. You've met our intern over here, and she's interviewed you, and you've gotten to know her. What would you want her to remember from this interview? What would you want her to remember?
I wanted to remember the whole story, what the Jews suffered, because to me it's very important. I mean, I'll go to heaven with peace in my heart that I am happy that the young people taking it over and telling the world what happened. And why is this important to me? Because in one situation in the village, when we survived an attack, the Gestapo was in front of the house, we were hidden, and a little boy was running around the house, and we were sure that he is bringing the Gestapo to us. We ran into the hiding place. I will spare you the description of our farewells to each other. We were saying, because we were positive that this is our end. My father was praying, and saying, God, thank you that you took away my wife in time. My mother died before the war. You wouldn't see that I take my children to the grave instead of to a wedding canopy. Okay, we survived. The Gestapo did not discover us. And when they looked for partisans. So we survived. After that, my father calmed down and he says, who will tell the world what we are suffering? So when I speak to you in front of me, I have the vision of my father. Who will tell the world what we suffer? Well, Daddy, I am doing it, and you are, the young people, you are doing it, and this, I have peace in my heart, and I'll go to heaven very happy. But you are doing this. You have to carry on the legacy. You young people, you have to do it. Thank you.
Ethel, thank you.